In 2024, Volkswagen as a group had a shocking year. Their profits shrunk drastically. Their revenue fell, their car sales, well, they shrunk as well. But 2025, it's actually going to be even worse. Here's why. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Volkswagen is looking at another very, very difficult year in 2025. It has no new EVs, and really it is going to see its sales shrink again. Back on the 26th of November, Volkswagen's CEO said that factory closures in Germany are inevitable. Volkswagen needs to reduce capacity and adapt to the new realities. He outlined a restructuring plan that will take 3 to 4 years to hopefully save the company. But Volkswagen's historical resistance to change is a fact. And that's probably one of the reasons why the group is, well, it's bound to pressure from unions in Germany and decided not to close any of its factories, but it will fire 35,000 staff. Labour unions, including Volkswagen's own influential Works Council, have vowed to fight any plant closures. But plant closures are exactly what's needed. The Volkswagen Group had a poor 2024, with sales falling and the automaker even raising the prospect of closing factories across Germany, numerous factories. But this year, Automotive News Europe says will be even worse. The automaker's deliveries risk slumping again because its namesake Volkswagen brand does not have a new electric car coming in 2025, with key products pushed back amid delays developing software. There's been huge software problems, and this has led to enormous delays. So if you think it's bad for Tesla, well, actually, at least they have a new Model Y. Yeah. Volkswagen's got nothing coming this year. For a group this size that relies on car sales for its, well, car sales are its only revenue and profit, really. It does have a small financial division as well that, loans money to people, but really it relies on car sales. Whereas Tesla this year will probably make around $1 billion in pure profit from European automakers, including the Volkswagen Group, for sales of its carbon credits. In fact, in total, it's likely to make about $2.5 billion in pure profit for doing absolutely nothing, just selling electric cars and then giving its carbon credits to other automakers, or at least a percentage of them. So even if Tesla have a struggling year this year, even if their sales don't go up, or even if they shrink a little bit, it's not going to make a huge difference. But at Volkswagen, it's a different story. The problems are starkest in China, where automakers led by BYD are dominating with affordable electric and plug-in hybrid models. In the United States, where President-elect Donald Trump is threatening tariff hikes, Volkswagen still does not offer any pickup trucks popular among American consumers. Other problems that Volkswagen have, they say the Volkswagen Golf will only be built in Mexico. Volkswagen does make some cars in Mexico, but now it looks like there'll be tariffs on Volkswagen's cars made in Mexico going to the United States. There'll also likely be tariffs on Volkswagen's cars made in Germany going to the United States. There'll also be tariffs on Volkswagen's cars made in China going to everywhere, Europe or the US or anywhere else. The voids in Volkswagen's lineup are complicating CEO Oliver Blume's bid to restructure the industrial behemoth, which is reeling from overcapacity and from intensifying competition. The competition is, honestly, it's furious. I mean, in China, manufacturers are doing what they do in every industry, right? They're willing to sell at a loss for as long as it takes in order to really get rid of the competition. XPeng CEO claims there will only be 7 car companies left. Now, there's really more than 50 selling electric cars today. That means huge changes are coming. While Blume struck a deal late last year with unions to cut costs in Germany and fire tens of thousands of staff, and is counting on partnerships with Rivian and XPeng to bolster Volkswagen's offerings in the United States and China, those new models won't be available until later this decade. If ever, to be honest, let's be frank. For the next year or so, Volkswagen is forced to sell old technology to new customers, said Matthias Schmidt, an automotive analyst based in Germany. That is going to be difficult. Volkswagen is still profiting handsomely from its popular combustion engine models, but their popularity is declining. And its bet on full electric vehicles isn't playing out as planned. And the reason for this is not because people don't want EVs. Sales of electric cars improved by 25% worldwide in 2024. It's because they don't particularly want Volkswagen's EVs, which are okay, but they're not class leading and they're not exactly cheap either. Sales are stagnating in Europe and slumping in the US as customers are turned off by waning subsidies, patchy charging infrastructure, and to be honest, EVs that have a lot of software problems. Volkswagen has contributed to this problem by introducing its first electric models years later than planned and with glitchy software. I mean, guys, here in Australia, Volkswagen doesn't even sell any EVs. They have begun selling the Volkswagen ID Buzz, I believe a month or two ago. They still don't have any passenger EVs of any type, though. In China, a key profit driver for Volkswagen, in fact, historically over the last 10 years, around 50% of the Volkswagen Group's profits have come from China. And this is the market for luxury EVs. Well, their cars have failed to take off there. Their EVs in particular, because there's much better choices, obviously, at lower prices. And this has hurt the prospects of models made by its upmarket brands, including Audi's Q8 e-tron and Porsche's Taycan. Porsche and Audi sales in China have tanked over the last 12 months. In fact, Audi sales have tanked worldwide. In the mass market, Volkswagen is struggling to compete with BYD, with NIO, with XPeng, with Xiaomi, with Tesla, with many car companies, whose aggressively priced EVs boast big screens, longer range, sophisticated voice recognition technology, better, really honestly, a better experience, and they have better software. The German automaker also does not offer any range extended EVs that have become popular recently in China. The main issue with Volkswagen is the product, said Stephen Reitman, an analyst at Bernstein. They have this production capacity for battery electric vehicles that people, well, they're not buying. Stellantis plans to introduce new electric models this year, including the Jeep Wagoneer S and the Fiat Grand Panda, as it seeks to win back market share in the United States and Europe. Renault is betting on demand for its new affordable EVs, including the new Renault 4. BMW is starting its biggest overhaul in years with the first of its new class EVs, a mid-size SUV with a windshield spanning screen that is expected to run for around 800 kilometers or 500 miles of range before needing to be recharged. 500 miles of range, there's plenty of customers interested in that kind of a car. Serial production is due to start this year in Hungary for BMW. Bloom is taking steps to plug portfolio gaps, but it's not fast when your ship is like the Titanic. The Titanic, as you know, it turned way too slowly to avoid the iceberg. The Volkswagen brand in November started production of the Tayron, a large SUV also sold as a plug-in hybrid, with deliveries due to begin this year. But that's going to be an expensive car, and there might not be a big market for a car costing what it's going to cost. The group is refreshing popular combustion engine models, including the Volkswagen T-Roc and the Audi Q3, and it's preparing deliveries of the Skoda Elroq, one of its most affordable electric SUVs. But here's the thing. There's an avalanche of new Chinese electric cars that are coming to the market, existing ones bringing out refreshed models. The new Tesla Model Y is coming. There's all these vehicles that are just better than anything Volkswagen Group has, anything from any of their brands. Except, obviously the Porsche Taycan, that's a pretty compelling EV, but it's compellingly out of the price range for about 99% of the general public as well. In Europe, Volkswagen has managed to defend its market share thanks to robust demand for its gasoline-powered models. It has also drastically improved in-car software, though Schmidt said that the Volkswagen brand's image is hurting from its early missteps. And it's true. The Volkswagen Group brand's image in China is in tatters. Audi is removing its logos from its cars. Serious. Crazy. Next generation models that analysts rate as possible game changers, including the ID2 All, an EV price below 25,000 euros, will not start deliveries until 2026. To be honest, 25,000 euros, it's just not that much of a compelling price for a car of its size and range. I mean, guys, you can get similar cars to this new ID2 All today for $10,000 US in China, and they're not far away from other markets. When previewing the car, the ID2 All, 2 years ago, Automotive News Europe said it will be as spacious as a Volkswagen Golf and as affordable as the Volkswagen Polo, two models that have sold more than 57 million units combined since their introduction in the mid-1970s. And while that might sound good, the problem is that there are still rivals that are half that price. In China, Volkswagen is aiming to regain market share starting this year, when vehicles developed with XPeng hit showrooms. But those cars, well, they won't hit the market until 2026. Bloom has promised that they will include technology that will better fit local tastes. The group aims to sell 4 million vehicles annually in China by 2030, up from 2.93 million last year. So somehow the Volkswagen Group are promising investors they're going to sell more than 1 million extra cars, 1.1 million extra cars in China in 5 years from now, right? Now, the Volkswagen Group, there is no way that a single human being in their executive management team believes that is even remotely possible. If you put a lie detector test on every single one of them, I guarantee you they would all fail the test. There is no possible way the Volkswagen Group are going to sell an additional 1.1 million cars in China. If anything, their sales will fall by 1 million in China. The introduction of new models is one solution, says Volkswagen, but it is just as important to maintain a broad portfolio, said Stefan Voswinkel, a Volkswagen spokesperson. We've worked hard over the past few years and have really good models with high-performance software and high quality, and that's what we keep telling our customers, but they're not convinced. And they're not. The Volkswagen Group lost its first place position in China last year to BYD. And there is no way in hell that BYD are ever relinquishing that position to the Volkswagen Group in China. Let's be real here. In the United States, where business will get more complicated if a Trump-led White House imposes costlier tariffs, which it appears it is about to, Volkswagen is preparing pickup trucks and rugged SUVs via its resurrected Scout brand. The Mach-E plans to offer electric, hybrid, and range-extended EV options, but none of them will arrive until 2027 at the earliest. And their popularity may depend on whether incentives are in place to reduce their sticker prices of roughly $60,000. Now, keep in mind, the Volkswagen Group doesn't make a profit selling EVs now. And realistically, if every single component going into these Scout vehicles made in the United States can't be from China, if none of it can be from China, how does it plan on making a profit even in 2027? I don't understand it. It would have to be mass producing these models in massive factories, right? In huge numbers. Basically, the Scout brand is like a boutique brand. That's what it is. It doesn't even exist today. So they've got to go from not existing at all. Don't get me wrong, the cars look great. But they've got to go from not existing at all to actually mass producing a brand new brand, right? In a brand new factory. That takes time, a lot of time. Uncertainty is also hitting Volkswagen closer to home. Germany is reeling. There's serious talks of crisis in Germany. Bankruptcies are all over the place in Germany. The automotive industry is just in a position of dire straits at this point in time. If you don't believe me, read the German media. There's stories in the German media every single day about this. People in Germany are literally panicking. Fears of recession and belief that corporate bankruptcies, were at their highest rate for decades in 2024, fears that they will get worse. They're bracing for snap elections in February. EV sales plummeted in Europe's biggest economy of Germany in 2024, and Bloom has warned that conditions in the country are insufficient for industrial companies to withstand stiffer competition. In other words, it's just too expensive to make cars in Germany and compete with China. And actually, even making cars in Germany is much more expensive than making them in the United States. Volkswagen's union deal to reduce German capacity and labor costs is just a start. It's good to cut costs, but it's also about finding ways to make your products sell better. Honestly, here is the big problem for the Volkswagen Group. They've got more than $200 billion in debt. Most of their factories are unproductive and inefficient. It takes them, for example, 3 times as long to manufacture an electric car versus what it takes Tesla. And they really don't have any structural advantage anymore from this whole big conglomerate. Having all these different brands under one umbrella, that used to be a good thing. They could say amortize costs, make one engine and put that engine in the Volkswagen Golf, put it in a Skoda, put it in an Audi. That's what they used to do. But all these engine factories and all these internal combustion engine car plants will soon be basically worthless. China is not interested in these old cars, these old internal combustion cars. China this year will hit probably 60% EV penetration. By 2027, it'll be about 80%. And the perception of the Volkswagen Group's brands in China is they're okay, but their EVs are subpar. Why would you want to buy a subpar EV? Well, that's the question that Chinese citizens, and in fact citizens of the entire planet, are asking themselves. And that's the reason why Volkswagen sales are down. It's also the reason why Volkswagen sales will fall again in 2025. Thanks for watching.